Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to see by a show of hands, or maybe I can't see the hands. So if you can just think to yourself, let's see who would rather go first giving a speech, or who would be that person that would want to go last. We're going to discover today who feels like a deer and who feels like a rabbit. So I was given the quote, "We generate fears while we sit, but we overcome them by action." And this was a quote by Dr. Henry Link. So I'm going to cover today my 3 ideas: that there is a rabbit brain, a deer brain, and a human brain. And we'll get into that just in a little bit. So to explain a rabbit brain, rabbits are used to being everybody's dinner. They're the bottom of the food chain. So their automatic reaction to fear is to run. They're immediate. They run fast in order to escape that fear. Now, on the opposite spectrum, there's the deer brain. The deer brain is when you freeze and you paralyze and you can't walk through that fear. Has anyone heard of that saying, like a deer in headlights? Well, that's kind of the concept of a deer brain. So when a deer foresees fear, they freeze because they don't know how to react immediately. Now, the third type of brain, fortunately, is the human brain. And the human brain, we have choices. We can either take immediate action or we can procrastinate and prolong that uncomfortable feeling of fear. So, as the saying goes, to overcome our fears by taking action. I think in today's world, we have seen that a lot. I know that many feared recently of losing our democracy. People stood up and took action, and they voted for Biden. So that was, rather than sitting and dwelling in that fear, it was getting up and taking action to change and to retain our democracy. There's a fear of people fear going to jail. So the action to prevent people from going to jail would be to abide by the laws. There could be a fear of judgment. If somebody is afraid to get up and give a speech, you might be fearing what other people are thinking about you, putting yourself out there in a situation that makes you feel vulnerable. So that's another fear. So would you not choose to open up and that way you don't get judged? Or do you risk being judged? Walk through that fear. And another fear is a fear of loss. If you don't open up your heart, you'll never have loss because you won't have that love. So a heavy takeaway here is it's kind of a give and take. You have to choose as a human brain whether to allow someone into your heart and risk that loss. Are you going to walk through that fear and give your heart? Or are you going to just remain closed and not allow anyone in and just allow that fear to take over your life? So the good thing is that we all have that choice. We all have human brains. And basically, we have choices. And if today, I'd like to see a show of hands or an internal show of hands, if everyone can just kind of think. Now, who feels like a deer and who feels like a rabbit? Who wants to become that person that went from being a deer paralyzed by fear to being that rabbit that took action and who stood up for what they believed in and who made a difference in this lifetime? So that is my takeaway for all of you, is hopefully you all can overcome that deer feeling and become that rabbit and take action in your life for what means the most to you. Don't be paralyzed by your fears. We're all meant to be great. Have a great day and have a good night. Take care.